So here we are. This is Ashton.
Hello.
I don't think. Have you ever been on one of our?
I've never.
Okay,
been.
so this is Josh's friend. I've never met him
Wow.
before.
You're lying.
Okay, well,
I
don't lie. I'm a Christian. I never lie.
He knows me.
Okay, anyway, this is our friend Ashton. This is Josh's friend Orca.
This is my dog Orca.
Yes, this is my friend.
Also his wife.
This is Frank over here. He's been here since 2011.
No, he's been here since the dawn of time.
One of those things is correct. But anyway, he's brought the Bible for us to read if we need it. Anyway,
if we need the
we're going to be talking about
a biblical podcast. If we need the Bible on a biblical podcast.
So, what are we talking about today, Ashton?
Depression.
Okay, so Josh, we're talking about depression. Where do you think we should start?
We gotta ask the question, what is depression? Because there's lots of definitions of depression based on personal experience, based on just how the world sees it, how you see it. So we gotta get the baseline of what we're talking about.
All right. Well, how do you see depression? Because personally, I've never had to define it. Because I don't think I've been more depressed than for about 5 seconds. I don't know why that is. Maybe because I'm just so happy-go-lucky. But, and the fact that I'm Christian.
I mean,
okay, that's not.
No, I'm not saying that all Christians are happy. I'm just saying I have a joy that is higher.
But think about a lot of Christians are depressed.
I understand.
I mean, think about Job. Think about Job. He was kind of sad,
but he wasn't depressed enough to curse the Lord and die.
But depression does not therefore mean that you curse the Lord and die.
Not yet. No.
Okay.
What is your definition? What is your definition?
So let's look at the Google definition.
The Google definition: a group of conditions associated with elevating or lowering a person's mood, such as depression or bipolar disorder.
Okay, so a mood that is raised or lowered.
Yeah, lower mood or loss of pleasure or interest in activity for a long period.
Okay, in that case, I'm depressed all the time. Okay.
Or maybe
how does depression hide? How does it go higher?
No, I think that's a bad definition. Because if you hear depressed, you think the person's just sitting in their room, moping about, suicidal, maybe.
Here's how I defined it. From what I've heard, is depression is this idea of immense sadness that doesn't pass, but it keeps coming along. It just keeps going, and sometimes there's reasoning, sometimes there's not.
I think that's spiritual depression, because there's mental depression where you think lower yourself, but you're not really thinking lower yourself in that instant. You're just feeling sad.
I think spiritual and mental depression is definitely linked.
They go hand in hand.
If you're being tempted, or if you're struggling spiritually, feeling down, whatever, you're gonna be emotionally sad. I like what you said about waves of sadness, basically.
Right.
Basically you're drowning and you just can't do better. So
and sometimes most people who are depressed, there's not a reasoning. It's just sometimes it's a chemical imbalance in the brain.
It's mental.
That you're just depressed just because. You know what I mean? It's not because something wrong happened into your life. It's just you are just sad.
It's psychological.
It's a psychological thing.
Yeah. But what I don't know. But what's the balance? Yeah, I don't know. What's the balance between this person is depressed because X, Y, and Z versus this person truly has a mental diagnosis?
I think the difference is
what do you think the average is?
Because one is causative, and what's the average of
who is more? I think it's more likely that someone's depressed because of a situation they're in, because they don't know how to address their own feelings. You can become depressed just because you don't know what you're feeling, I think.
So what you're asking, just to clarify, what's the difference between a spiritual depression and a mental depression? I'm just trying to gauge what you're trying to ask.
Okay, no, I was saying, he's right. Some people are just depressed because of their mind. It's not because of their mind, because of actual psychological
mental
reaction. Yeah,
mental disorder.
Not because his dad got hit by a car, but because he's depressed. So how many Is it 5-1? Is it 2-1? Is it 50-50? Because the rate of depression has gone up in the past, 2 years. So does everybody suddenly have a mental problem?
Basically, is there a cause to depression, or
is there an external cause to depression that can be addressed?
What's the majority? That you're in? Are people just like mentally just depressed because something's wrong chemically with their body, or is it because they actually have reasoning?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to clarify the question.
I bet, not that there's nobody who like we've already addressed, but I think the majority of people, there's a cause.
I agree.
I think a lot of depression can also be found because of trauma. Like a lot of people who I've seen who are really struggling with depression, it goes all the way back to usually something in the childhood that was just brutal and caused a lot of pain.
Definitely.
When it comes to depression in the United States, I noticed that there's people that get depressed because they hate themselves, which is what depression is. If you boil it down, it's self-hatred. My question is
not necessarily, but yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I would fully agree with this idea that all depressed people, it's because they hate themselves.
You can be depressed because your dad died, but that doesn't mean you hate yourself.
But it's not true depression. Or is that just mourning?
Just sadness?
It's not just mourning.
Because you go through 5 grief.
Because depression is immense sadness, just day in and day out that never ends. That's more like grief.
Well, I mean, how many years after your dad's death is it?
But that could be grief.
Well,
most people would just say that it's grief and that you're struggling with grief.
I'll also raise time. There is 5 stages of grief. There's anger. There's fear. There's bargaining, and each stage of that grief takes time to process.
Okay,
so
people
are going through that 5 years, 20 years in advance,
right?
And they're still going
not advance. You mean the future?
Sometimes, yeah. What do you mean in advance?
My dad's gonna die, so I'm gonna start grieving now.
For 20 years.
He's gonna die.
For 20 years, no. I've been preparing.
He's got to look
my
like
dad's
Frank.
Dead.
He looks like Frank.
He looks
no, you get into anger, and you're just I'm angry.
Dad, I'm just so angry that you're gonna die. I'm just so angry.
All right, let's go from defining depression. It can be in different forms. Some depression is just sadness or mourning or whatever. How do we get out of that? Or how do we try to get out of that? Worldly and biblically.
We cope with it.
What do you mean worldly?
Worldly?
How would the world handle it?
Yeah, how would the world handle it? That's what I mean.
Okay, well, honestly, how the world handles it?
Yeah, so let's
say...
So
it's not the greatest, but it's how the world...
Yeah, how would someone who doesn't have a religion handle
get the
depression?
Understanding. It's not something I would recommend.
Yes, 100%. We're talking about the cons.
I'd say, honestly, from what I've learned, and to get a little personal, I've faced depression before. I think with a lot of depressed people, there's a self-destruct type of mindset. So with a lot of people, I think they go into drugs, maybe self-harm, or the ultimate, and I think this is, the devil will try to build up anyone who's depressed into this. This is his ultimate goal is suicide. I think that's because, when you get to a depressed mindset, there comes a time where you just want your pain to end and basically just want
the quickest escape.
And I think that's a lot of people, unfortunately, and suicide rates are going up. It's unfortunately, that is the way they handle it, is through stopping it by killing themselves.
Yeah. So, what is different between what someone who doesn't have religion or the world versus a Christian? We see that some secular guy who has depression, he's going to start taking drugs. They're harmful to his mind, to his body. It's going to mess up his relationships. It's going to mess up his teeth. He's going to get mouth cancer. Something. Well, that's more like smoking. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Have personal experience?
All these, no comment. No comment. So we see this is crazy. We see all these worldly ways of coping, all these coping mechanisms. They're harmful. They are almost more harmful than just, oh, I'm sad, I'm depressed in the head. Drugs.
Well, they get in the cycle of making them feel a little bit better.
Yeah, but then in the end, you get worse.
They feel more depressed afterwards, and then it comes down to
yeah. So how do we combat depression without harmful side effects?
In a biblical
way. Yeah.
I think the way I would say is like one of the bigger things that Christians have that worldly people don't have is God and the hope that is within the gospel. You see in times in the Bible, Psalms, I'd say, is one of the best places for a hurting man to go to.
Or woman.
Yeah, because you see King David, I mean, he's just, like, he talks about how, like, what is it? I'm not going to quote it exactly, but it's like, he cries day in and day out,
His bed is soaked with his tears.
His bed is soaked with tears. He's like crying, and he's just crying out to the Lord. And I think that's one thing that we can do is give our cares. 1 Peter 5:7 says, casting all your anxieties on Him because He cares for you. So, one, you can generally give this to the Lord. But two, you can also see that God genuinely cares. And I think what we need to realize is I think we can get so caught up on forgetting about this, but the truth is God actually does care about our mental state. God actually does care if we're sad or what we're going through. And
on a personal level.
Yeah, on a personal level.
Not just as the human race.
Right. He genuinely cares about what you're going through, what I'm going through, what Josh is going through. Probably not what Okur's going through, but what us as humans, what we're going through, He cares about it.
Another thing you gotta consider, and if you ever read Psalms, I encourage you to, you gotta understand that people who are not biblically sound or not grounded in sound, they only focus on what is their depression. And I would argue with anybody, and I will tell somebody who's going through depression, recognize your depression. Because if you don't recognize it,
yes,
you act like everything is fine. But
recognizing something is wrong is the first step to fixing that problem.
But on the flip side, if you focus on that depression and not look up to God for that focus, for that strength, you just fall into more depression. And I like how Psalms really illustrate this the best, because it's like, if you ever read Psalms, it's this author crying out to the Lord saying, where are you now? Where people around me are persecuted. Yeah. I'm so depressed. But then if you look at the ending of every single Psalm, it's like, but you are holy, but you are good, but I choose to focus on you. That's the really how you can get through that.
Yeah, I like that. My mind is completely blank.
Here's my question: Is depression something?
Yeah.
Is depression something you battle once and you get it over with,
Definitely
or is
not.
Something you have to battle constantly?
I think it's just like any other temptation. Let's say to cuss. If you stop cussing when you drop a rock on your toe one time, and you don't say,
speaking from personally,
this is personal. If you don't cuss that one time, next time you break your foot, you're still gonna have the urge to say something bad, or to.
And honestly, I think that's one major difference between people who actually have depression and just somebody who is just sad for a time. Is depression doesn't go away and it's a battle you constantly have to face, whereas sadness can go away. But depression is something you will constantly have to face.
I believe that you can completely conquer depression. Yes, you'll still have bouts of depression or whatever it's called.
Well, temptations, yes.
Yeah. But I think you can conquer depression fully and say, yes, I'm depression free, and then still be tempted to be depressed or be depressed.
Well, yeah, and well, that's true.
That over and
like
over.
Someone who struggles with lust is not gonna forever stumble into lust, but that doesn't mean he will therefore never struggle with it again. He will still. The devil uses the same playbook every single time. He uses the same. He uses the same temptations on you, right? If you struggle with lust, the devil is going to be just tempt you forever and forever. If you have depression, you will constantly, maybe not constantly, but you will be tempted to be depressed. And it's a everyday battle that you have to move away from that. You have to pursue joy with the Lord.
Definitely. Keep your mind set on things of above.
Right.
So I think a big problem with today's society, set your mind on things of above, not in this world. And I'm mixing quotes, but you get the idea. I think a big problem with today's society is being depressed is almost like blatantly idolized. Like everybody is depressed nowadays on social media. If you get on there, like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying everybody's like, it's
I
good.
think it's the exact opposite. I think because of social media, and I actually did a research paper on this, like a whole video talking about this. Like it was like 20%, like 18-year-olds are getting depressed because of social media.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not because everybody's acting like they're depressed. No, I think it's because everybody's acting because they're happy. They're hiding their depression. They're hiding the fact that they don't want help.
Well, Instagram can be depressing because it's like you
see the perfect
you see
life.
the highlight reels,
for
the happiness. Nobody ever posts, dude, I'm so depressed. You know, like
my cat just died.
No one, except for one of my friends.
One of your friends is real.
Dude, seriously, one of my friends will like literally just send pictures on the group chat of her crying. And it's like, what? But except if you're her, majority of the time, people will like show the highlight reels and not, oh dude, I'm so depressed.
Which is a human nature. We don't like, especially with boys, we don't like showing weakness towards others because we want
we think of weakness as of weakness. Yeah. Yes.
Or we think, like, if I share depression to somebody like that, I'm going through depression, that's weak.
Yeah,
now,
you're opening up
like
a woman.
That there's a flip side of this. You don't go around saying, I'm so depressed. I'm so depressed.
Definitely.
There's a flip side. There's a way where you can talk to somebody about that, but you don't want to talk to everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
what I meant when I started about the social media and the depression being idolized, that's what I meant. I mean, some people are literally just posting, all they post about is their depression and, oh, I hate my life and all this stuff. It's like, this is not going to help you. Yes, somebody might reach out to you online and, give you scripture and try to help you. But what you need is somebody that you can sit down and talk to face to face. You need to be praying. Honestly, you don't need to be posting about it.
Yeah, and honestly, like, let's think about, like, depression is like, it's great to cry out to the Lord, and I think we should do that. But also, even the Bible talks about how when you're struggling, you need to go to a brother, and
definitely.
And I agree with y'all. It is not something you post on Instagram about. You shouldn't be like, guys, I'm depressed, or like crying out on Instagram, but rather find someone, preferably someone older than you, who's more wise, who you look up to biblically, and get them to help you. Talk to them. For example, one of my personal mentors, he's like a certified biblical counselor. So me and him talk. I also have another mentor that helps me. Find a mentor, find someone to help you with depression, because it's all for something I've realized too is like depression is something, if you want to truly stop and face, you can't face it alone. You have to battle this.
Definitely.
This is not a fight you can win alone. This is something you have to go to God with, and brothers.
Yeah.
And if you're a girl, talk to a girl. If you're a guy, talk to a guy. That's my personal thing.
Definitely, because if you're a depressed guy and I mean, not for all cases. If you're a depressed guy talking to a girl who's trying to help you, it's going to be a lot harder for y'all to click because women and men have different. They're wired differently, so
and they struggle.
They're
with,
like,
oh, dude, that's so different. I know none.
Women are crazy.
Men can't understand women, and women can't understand men.
They can't.
But not only that,
Not necessarily, but yes.
But
Not
no,
like.
I cannot understand women, bro.
You'll get there.
Well, Caleb can't either.
Caleb,
You don't know that.
You can't say a thing.
you've not once talked to a lady
That you know of.
besides your mother. You have not talked to her.
Hey, look.
Okay,
Frank,
let's
the first time
not
Frank tried
talk
to
about who can talk about women.
Who
Man.
can talk? Who can talk
Okay.
about women?
Let's take a crazy turn.
But on a
Okay.
serious note, men struggle with different things than women struggle.
Definitely.
And like, it's just easier to connect on that type of level with a girl, with a girl if you're a girl, and a boy if you're a boy.
Yeah. Congratulations. Josh just whispered, I'm an evil scientist. So, where do we go from here?
You're not smart enough to be a scientist.
That is rude.
You know what?
That is rude. But you're right.
It's true.
Okay. So, I think now
Okay,
I've never
now
been
flip
depressed.
side.
Go on.
So now on the flip side, now we talked about how you personally deal with depression.
Okay.
How do you?
Are you saying how do
Hold
we
up.
how do we
I
personally
love how
deal with
I love
depression?
how Caleb was literally starting to talk about what you're asking, and then you're like, "Wait, stop! Let's talk about personal experience now."
That's
When
almost
Caleb
what I
was
was gonna say. Yeah.
When Caleb was literally starting to say, "I've never been to," like he's going into a personal experience, then you're like, "Stop, Caleb, stop! Let's talk about personal experience."
All right.
now."
Let's each cover how we cope with depression or sadness.
I wasn't gonna bring that up, but let's
Okay.
go
Yeah,
into that. I'll
so-
bring up my question later.
Okay, so for instance, I've never been depressed for more than probably a day. Like, there's been times when I was sad or mad at God or struggling with a sin, and I'm like, how am I ever going to beat this or whatever? But I've never been depressed like what we define depression to be. So, whenever I'm sad, whenever I'm momentarily depressed, I would say praying is my biggest thing. I like to pray and just talk to God about it. Like I talk to a brother. Or, I also like just to praise him, thank him for who he is and what he has done, and thank him for his promises. And another thing I like to do is just go into the room, turn off all the lights, and play worship music, and just sit there. That's a really good thing, worshiping. But another for men, this is a lot easier. Just don't hang on to it. If you're bitter about something, if you're sad about something, it's gonna be gone.
That's
no
easier
worries.
said than done, though.
Hey, for me,
Like,
it's
that's
easy. No,
Dude,
no.
do you know
yeah,
how-
no.
Like it.
Oh,
like,
I'm really anxious. Just don't be anxious, bro.
Yeah, forget
Just
about
stop,
it.
just stop.
Easy.
I love
That's
that.
not what I'm saying. What
My
I'm
dog died. I'm really sad. Well, stop
Oh,
being sad. Get
shrug
over
it
it.
off.
Walk it off.
Remind me never come to you when I'm like.
This is
It's okay.
I'm
You'll be
so
fine.
I'm so depressed, Caleb.
Go.
Suck it off.
Suck it up, buddy.
Go, guys, God is the great comforter. Go to God, not Caleb.
Yeah,
Caleb is the
Caleb would be
worst.
like,
Okay, what I'm saying.
Caleb would be like, just stop being depressed, bro.
Stop.
Why
Stop
are you
being
depressed?
sad.
What's the matter with you?
My
Okay.
wife died. Oh, get over
It's
it.
not- there's more
Get
women.
over
There's
it.
more
Find
women.
another one. That's literally.
They're replaceable. Okay, bro. Where was I?
Let's go to the Bible and see what it
Okay. What was I talking about before we started laughing?
You talked about worship music.
Yeah, so I like to go and just worship.
Oh, and
Um,
how you like to just get over it.
Yeah, so now
Walk
this
it
isn't.
off.
Now this is more generalized. The difference between men and women. A woman will hold a grudge. You know, like let's say two girls fight, they're gonna hold that grudge for months. Now this is just overall. If two guys gonna fight, the next day they're gonna call each other and say, "Hey, you want to play Fortnite?
No,
hey, you want to
the
go?
next minute.
Yeah, you want to go?
No,
They're gonna say, "Hey,
okay.
you want to arm
I
wrestle?"
think that's just stereotypical.
No, Josh, let's
No.
be for real.
No, that's
Me and you have done that before. We've gotten so mad. Then a minute later, so what's up?
Yeah,
No, but I do think that
So
that's
that's just
stereotypical.
part. I disagree. I think it's
Okay,
yes,
men
it's
can hold
stereotypical,
grudges.
but men can also hold
there's some
grudges. For
men
instance,
that I
if
know-
he killed you, I would hold a grudge against him for a
Wait.
while.
You know what? Honestly,
Am I
probably
wrong?
would.
Okay,
Caleb, protect me.
Okay.
Why did you put me with this dude?
you put him with us.
Oh, yeah,
Anyway,
that's right.
what I was saying was, now this doesn't necessarily apply to depression, but you know, if you're sad, just realize that this too shall pass. This isn't the end of the world,
Well, that is
unless your
that
wife
can
dies.
apply to
Unless-
depression. Just holding on to the things of the above. Not
I'm so annoyed.
All right, I'm done talking. Josh, would you like to go?
no. I
All
don't.
right, Ashton, you share.
You go with your
You do have to
personal-
listen.
What's your
I've
personal
never been
experience?
really depressed, but I share thoughtful.
Yeah, and Josh,
Well, I mean,
you're
it's me.
constantly depressed.
Yeah, Josh is the most depressed person I know.
It's true.
But we're joking. We're joking.
You're an
Well,
idiot.
Thank you.
That's just rude.
No, it isn't. He
You're
calls
also
me-
an idiot.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, I am.
Hey, I got some scripture for this. The brother that looks at his brother and says, "You fool," has committed murder in his heart.
Yeah,
So-
you're a murderer. Repent.
You also
Turn to God.
committed
Flee
murder.
from
You
youthful
also-
passions. Turn to God.
I
Turn
just
to
saw
God.
this. Okay,
This went
somebody
so-
share something.
This would sound
He
rude.
literally said, "Let's not do this." Okay.
Are you gonna edit this?
No,
You
this
shouldn't.
is literally gonna be one take.
Personal experience, Josh.
Not necessarily. I don't know. I might edit out silences,
Personal experience.
or
Yeah.
just personal ideas for how to cope with it. You know what I mean,
Don't feel comfortable getting into personal experience.
bro? Y'all were the ones who wanted to do the one on depression.
I didn't want to go on.
Have you been
personal.
depressed? Yes or no?
Okay, Ashton, your turn.
It's wrong.
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
You have been.
are you
How do you
depressed
cope with it?
at the moment?
Like, no kidding.
His
How do you
depression.
biblically cope with it?
His
Not
dep-
like us. That's earthly possession.
His depression is because he doesn't have enough Legos.
Yes. I can't buy enough. Like,
You literally have
on
1,
the
2,
series-
3, 4,
He's
5,
gonna
6,
sell his
7
entire
visible.
house. Dude, when he has kids, he's gonna sell them just to get like.
Yo, that's crazy. All right, let's reel this back in.
okay, that's. I would say what helped me when I feel down or feeling emotions of depression is just like you said, thinking about the Lord, praying through it. Also like doing activities like hanging out with friends.
Yes, you
reading
are
a
right.
book,
You are
building
right.
Legos.
I just thought of something. Working out. I love working out whenever I'm angry, sad, or
Oh.
depressed.
He's addicted to working out.
So
He
if
is?
all of a sudden you see me
I
really
couldn't
buff,
tell.
if I'm really buff, all of a sudden just ask me what's going on because I'm probably angry or sad.
No,
It literally gets your mind off.
He's gonna have
it
an
gets mine
8-pack next time.
We're gonna be like, so.
He's gonna
are you
look
okay?
like the-
Are you okay?
My mom died.
He's gonna
No,
look
I-
like
no, I-
Dwayne Johnson next time we see him.
I will be the next boulder. I'm not gonna be a rock. I'm gonna be a boulder. Anyway.
Also, talking to a counselor, talking to a therapist, talking to.
I'm all of his therapist counselor.
No, you're not. You're like the.
He's
last
the
person I would
yo,
talk-
He's the worst person.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
y'all know
'cause you went to
Caleb,
suck it up,
don't,
suck it up.
don't go ask Caleb for
No.
advice.
Who are you telling? My
You would
two
be-
viewers?
You would be a terrible.
His mom?
You would be a terrible counselor.
You don't know that because you never come to me
You
with
would-
your problem.
I know that you would say
That's
suck it
a
up.
lie.
Walk it off.
No, actually, I try to help people when they come to me for help. I've never had it happen, but if it did.
But if it did.
I would be
But
very
if
helpful.
it did.
So, any other things to add, Josh, before Ashton shares his story?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
man.
Josh. Ashton.
Hey, nice to meet you, Josh.
What's your name, Josh?
Aston.
Okay, wait.
Oh,
Can we
okay.
wait first? Let's ask Frank what he thinks about
Oh.
depression. Frank. That's so interesting. Okay, your turn.
Wait,
That's
we
the
gotta let
dumbest
Frank
thing.
talk more.
What? Okay, Frank. La la. I like depression. Your turn.
Maybe you need to go
That's how
see
you-
Caleb.
Suck it up, buddy.
He's depressed because he's dead.
He's depressed because he's sitting next to Caleb.
What?
Then why isn't Ashton depressed?
What?
Okay. He said he's depressed because he's sitting next to me. You're sitting next to me. I'm editing that part out now.
I am depressed. Because I'm sitting next to you.
Oh, thanks. All right. So, how do you cope with depression in general or specific?
So yeah, I mean,
like last week when I killed your mom, what did you do to cope with that depression?
That got violent real quick.
Okay.
That's not the first thing you think.
Because it starts with a Y and ends with an R and it starts with an M. O-M. Your mom.
This is, his help is killing your parents. And sucking up. So maybe we shouldn't.
Why are you spitting on me?
He likes to. Okay.
He likes to spit on me.
He likes to. Write that down.
Write that down.
Take a little note. Okay. How do you deal with depression?
So I probably have been more depressed than both of you.
Put together?
Maybe.
Okay, so how did you get out of that, if you did? And if not, let's turn the camera off and let's have a talk session.
So
or leave the camera on.
Well,
you can
we're
cry,
definitely
and then
not
you'll
gonna
get
have a
lots of
talk
views.
session with you.
Suck it up. Stop getting depressed. No.
Oh, okay.
Chill.
Okay. Attack him. Anyways.
Okay.
So.
How do you get out of depression when you have to sit next to me?
I do this.
Oh! I did not. I did not expect that. Okay, no, but for real, we need to wrap this up, or not.
We don't.
Yeah,
need to
we
wrap.
should wrap it
Well,
up.
we can do another episode on something
Yeah,
else.
let's do another episode.
Let's do another episode.
So
I'm building Legos.
You can build Legos. Me and Ashton can do
all right.
it.
So.
Okay, so what do you do when you're depressed? Besides be depressed.
So, how I get over it is prayer, reading my Bible. I like to go through comforting passages. There's certain chapters in the Bible that have comforted me
Jeremiah.
in a great way. A lot of the Psalms. I would also say talking to a mentor of mine about it. Getting my mind off of it by, like, hanging out with friends. That's a great way.
Is that why you're always hanging out with me?
Not being, yes, I'm always, not basically because it's bad if you're depressed if you're alone. So don't
Definitely.
be alone.
I have a point to bring up later.
Worship music
Yep.
is like just a great cure for it. Just clinging onto God. I think when you're depressed, that's one of the greatest times to just get into the Word and pray, and yeah.
I like that. You mentioned being alone and depressed is bad. 100%. I think, like, for instance, during COVID, now I don't know the statistics, but during COVID, suicide skyrocketed.
Oh yeah.
Depression, of course, skyrocketed. Because why? People are being isolated.
And
They don't even
miserable.
have interaction. Well, I don't know. I wasn't isolated. I just ran around in the woods.
Like you always do.
Yeah,
So
COVID changed nothing for me.
COVID changed nothing. He's doing the exact same thing he's been doing.
For instance, we see men who have testosterone. They need to get out there. They need to be in the open. They need to be outside. They need to be doing activities. They need to be talking with other men. They need to be punching other people.
What was that for?
For elbowing me in the gut in my 12-pack.
You
don't have a 12-pack.
You're right. It's an 11-pack. I
No,
lost
it's
one.
not.
I drank one on the way here.
God took it away.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay. I was making a point.
Like
a 6-pack.
Why did you stand up, my friend?
I don't know. I'm getting sore. Stiff, not sore. Anyway, if you are isolated for a year, for any amount of time, you don't have brothers to talk to, you don't have a way to vent.
That's how Josh
you don't have a way to pray. He's always been insane.
I know, but COVID made it worse.
Something is gonna happen, whether for good or for worse. Now, if you're this amazing dude who just sits in a room by himself and is able to become better by working out, praying, meditating, whatever, good for him. But that's not what we see. We see suicides, we see depression, we see self-harm, we see all these bad stuff, and this is because they're being isolated. So you don't need to be isolated. We see in the Bible that there's brothers communing with each other, like driving in their car, commuting. They're fellowshipping together. Iron sharpening iron. We need to have a community. Even if you're not a Christian, you need to be socializing, talking with other people. You don't need to be in your room on Instagram all day, playing video games all day.
Why do you think I play video games all day?
Josh, if you're not working, you're
because there's a PS something
Lego.
over there.
What do you mean?
Okay, his new thing is Legos. All I'm saying is,
Josh,
go outside, climb a tree, meet your neighbors. They're probably nice people.
I've done. I
hang
hang out with y'all more than
I know. I'm not saying us. I'm just saying.
Exactly. You're getting so defensive. I think there's we said something that was true, and so now you feel like you have to defend yourself.
Okay, another thing is,
he's trying to break my arm now.
I think one of the reasons people get depressed, now this is just generalized, because all my statements are general, not really. I think that, for instance, some public schoolers, the reasons they're getting depressed. Are you a public schooler?
I was public
Let's
school.
go. No wonder you're depressed.
No, honestly, public school made me even more depressed.
It's crazy.
The public school sucked.
Well, they used to be good institutes. Now they're like corrupt.
Yeah, now they're teaching 5-year-olds about sexual education when they need to wait till they're 7.
That's actually
and it used to be dad sitting down, not 7, 12. 7.
So you think...
Okay, we need to do an episode on this though. Okay, at school.
How old do you need to be?
As a teenager in America today, last year, year before, if you're not being brought up in a Christian household with Christian values, you're going to be searching for ways to fill the void in your life. Mm-hmm. Drugs, friends, relationships, social media, video games, Legos, even Legos. Now, no, I'm just kidding. Now, drinking, all these things can lead to depression. If you don't have Christ, if you don't have a personal relationship with God, you will be depressed at some point in your life because you find, oh wait, these drugs aren't going to help me. They're giving me instant gratification. Wait, I'm not done. They're not giving you long-term pleasure, so to speak. They're giving you instant gratification.
So you're saying without God, there is no
Without
pleasure?
God, there is no... What?
Wait.
Okay.
With God, there is no depression?
No, I'm saying without God, you will be depressed.
But with God, you will be depressed as well?
Yes, but you can overcome that depression.
Yes. You made it sound like with God, you will not have
With God, you will be perfect.
That's not true.
I think
You would never be depressed.
You were both like, wait a minute, Caleb.
I'm
we were
not a
both
heretic.
about to argue with Caleb.
That's not
we
what I'm
just
saying.
spent an entire episode about what should Christians do when they're depressed.
But actually, Christians don't get depressed.
And then Caleb is like,
the great reveal.
Christians never get depressed, guys.
Plot twist.
Yeah, so,
Wait.
So, don't be isolated. Don't do drugs. Read the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to end it that way?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You
want to say something?
I am Bob. No, anyways.
Frank, thank you for coming on tonight. It's been good seeing you.
Josh.
Ashton, thank you for coming on the show.
Say something.
You're going to be on our next episode. Yes. We're either going to be talking about marriage, sexuality.
Subscribe
to
Walk in the Light Ministries.
Oh, why did you say mine? Yeah, subscribe to this thing. It's Walk in the Light Ministries. Is it just YouTube at Walk in the Light Ministries?
It should be.
Okay. I've never seen it, but it's good. And
I haven't been posting, but I'm actually going to start being consistent in posting.
I've been trying to do that for a long time. It hasn't been working.
Well, it's just because me and you haven't been talking.
Well, we'll hold each other accountable, Caleb.
Like good Christian men.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So stay safe. Don't do drugs.
Josh,
not do.
Say something?
No, because then we'll be another 20 minutes to discuss it.
We'll see you some other time.
You're a good man. Not really.